It was Tookie or it was Frog from Make Trade Gangster. But somebody, or Avalon, somebody gave me one. And they gave me a BGF Constitution. They gave me both of them. And that was it for me. That was, when I seen that, I was like, nah.
They were just alike?
They was identical. It wasn't no just alike. They were, the stuff they gave me was identical, except for BGF was on one, and CCO, the 3 letters CCO was on the other.
For the dime moves and the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you've been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf, I
was the founder. I created Conan Parker in my mother's garage.
I had a lot of, lifting weights, and I was on swole. They start calling me Big Miz.
Kev Mac video, you know, this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul.
This is only the beginning.
I don't know. It could have been propaganda. I don't think nobody went to those extents just to turn my little Crip ass out, but it worked. And so the Blue Notes came about from that standpoint because the CCOs were brutal, ruthless, and everybody was fair game to them that wasn't a part of their operation. And if you came in there with that Crip behind your name, believe me, they was getting at you about getting in line with them, or you was gonna have to get down with them, even though you was a Crip. That part I didn't like. That's another part about them that I disdained, and I couldn't understand that.
As far as this Cripping go, the Raymonds have a rich history, and a lot of my OGs are their names are synonymous with Cripping. So being a Raymond, it was always something to live up to, so to speak, because certain foundations were set inside of prisons and also outside of prisons that we necessarily had to live up to. It was a must.
I was one that went out there, and I know I couldn't win by myself, but we organized, we built, and we went out there and represented the Blue Rag with them and anybody else that wanted to go to war with Crip.
So knowing all these Crips from all different areas and joining different organizations, did that put a strain on any of your friendships?
Oh yeah. To see all of these Crips, that's the one episode in Crippin' that hurt, that really I regret. I mean, I thought I was doing what I was doing in Crippin' for the right reasons, and I was being honorable and respectful to the Blue Rag. But I never took it personal. What I was doing was all business per se. I never really got emotional about, nobody really. I always kept my shit impersonal. This is business to me, man. You in this arena is, you get me, I get you, we move on, But yeah, Motor Mouse, it was a bunch of Crips that was in notes, and in CCO, that who I grew up with, fighting in this Crip, struggling in this Cripping, and it was a regretful, that was perhaps the one thing that, what Raymond dying was the biggest thing that broke Cripping up. But even when Raymond died, Crip was still Crip. We had a lot of honor, trust, and respect among each other from hood to hood, house to house, cell to cell, YA to YA. You can be from Compton, West Side, East Side. We got out. Blue Note and CCO destroyed that, and that was regretful.
Did CCO and Blue Note ever fight side by side against any other organization?
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course.
So that was a commonality that brought y'all.
Yeah. Like if even though I was a Blue Note, I couldn't stand seeing a AB or a police or a ME fuck with another Crip, even if he was a CCO. You know what I'm saying? I did 4.5 years in the hole behind a murder of a CCO. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I was, I was Johnny on the spot. As soon as one of their soldiers fell, but I knew him. The soldier that fell, he was another one of my, loved ones, and somebody, me and him, did Total County Jail up way back in '82. Slow drag from Watts. He lost his life in the struggle up in there. C-section. Shit. Who you think went out there after that? CCO be damn. That was my loved one. Point blank.
You went to the hole in Quentin?
I went to AC in Quentin. I was one of the first Crips in AC. We originally went to the BGF yard, and then we developed our own yard.
When you say BGF yard, tell me what that means.
When you go to these holes, so you St. Quentin has several SHU units, which is security housing units, basically lockup. They have them all over the East Block, South Block, North Block. They have them in each block except for West Block. It's the only block that didn't have a SHU. They have a super SHU called the Adjustment Center. That's where George Jackson lost his life at, in the Adjustment Center. And that's the one they put me in for Crips retaliating in the Lewis Montgomery incident. So I went there. I can't remember no Crip being there with me. They came in and gaffled me up out of my cell, threw down on me in A section, and put me in the Adjustment Center. So the Adjustment Center and these holes has these separate yards. And these yards are basically designed for these prison gangs. You can't put Mexican Emmys and ABs on the yard with the BGFs and the Northern. So the Northern Familiar can go to the yard with the BGF. They got it on at the time. Then you had a non-affiliated yard, black yard. So you got different designations. They're gonna ask you where you from and all that. Although I never told the police anything about where I was from, it was just known I was a Crip. And they put it down there whether you tell them or not. So they gave me an indeterminate shoot term, put me on the yard with the BGF yard. It was the BGF yard. They didn't put me on the non-affiliated yard. They put me on the BGF yard, I think in part because there was a close relationship with the BGFs and the CCO. So at this point in time, the police felt like Crips and CCOs basically got along, put me out there. I was not a CCO. Things got dicey out there with them, and we ended up forming our own Crip yard.
That was like 1985.
That was 1984.
Okay.
1984.
Did Quentin go up after that? I know you did what you did, went to the SHU, but did it explode?
Oh yeah. Quentin exploded, man, and primarily because of the inundation of Crips coming in from LA. And like I say, you didn't have to, train them to do nothing. The willingness to take up any kind of struggle as far as physical struggle was already baked in these dudes. So it was just a matter of teaching them how to make a knife and use a knife, and bam, there it is there.
Is this when Quentin got broke up and they start shifting Crips to Folsom?
No. They had Crips, so the CCO was primarily in St. Quentin. And at this point, they can transfer you. You didn't have to go to classification. In fact, they came and got my brother was in Folsom. They came in and transferred me there for a brief period in 1984. No, they transferred me there in 1983. Just come to my cell, throw boxes in front of my cell and told me to get on the bus. Then they did it again, told me to go back to San Quentin. But the CCO, when the war started with the Emmy, with the Crips and the Emmys at San Quentin, they did take a bunch of CCOs and a bunch of Crips and just put them on buses and took them to Folsom. And then that's how, it was just two prisons. It was just two prisons at this point. There wasn't no such thing now as a Pelican Bay or Corcoran. It was just Folsom and San Quentin as far as prisons. And then DVI, of course, Solidary and all them institutions. But the prisons, the two main prisons were Folsom and San Quentin. And we went back and forth.
Those are the two that was cracking.
Those are all of them got to crack. Everything blew up after Montgomery thing. All of them cracked it. Tracy, county jail, even on the streets prior. After the Lewis Montgomery Crips refocused their energy and their violence on the Mexican mafia. It was a war that was talked about little in these things, but that's what happened. It was going down.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Folsom had started getting cracking in 85.
Right.
And I was wondering, would you contribute that to that situation or the influx of all the Crips your age and under you started filling up the prisons?
Yeah, well, both of those things are true. The influx of the soldiers my age and beyond started coming in. Folsom, the BGF was at war with the Emmy, just the BGFs. Now, I was there. I was at Folsom. So the Crips wasn't involved in this at this point. The Crips was involved with the Emmy war at San Quentin, but not in Folsom. The Crips in Folsom, matter of fact, when I got to Folsom, Zoom from the east side, and I think Bulldog, Zoom specifically from the east side, I got there because these Mexicans were bringing the game to these BGFs, man. That's just the bottom line. I was sitting there looking at this shit. I was on the yard, and these Emmys, to me, they were the aggressors. Although the BGS, I give them propers, police was involved in, complicit with the logistics for these Mexicans. They was all in cahoots. They got the real BGFs out the way, locked up. They send one or two to the yard. They go out there and get slaughtered by these Emmys. And the Crips and the Bloods is just sitting back like this here, just looking at this. That kind of like, that didn't sit well with me. It really didn't. So I was like, man, nah. Then Zoom reminded me about that's BGS business. Remember, I think he was at the Crip meeting with Raymond. So, Raymond said, fuck these dudes. But to me, it was more than that. I was like, it just didn't sit right. Although those were BGS, but they was losing that to me. I don't know what they was doing before that, but when I got there, the BGS was losing that. And then them Crips came in, and basically the CCOs came in and rescued them. But the CCOs basically had all the Crip support in that was at that prison. So when the CCO go out there with blue rag in their pocket and slaughter a couple of these Mexicans, the Mexicans don't give a fuck about no CCO. You see what I'm saying? So it was a game play. So I'm saying the Mexicans got to hitting all Crips that was already there. So basically the Crips is now engaged, whether they like it or not.
Was civilians, non-affiliates getting hit by Mexicans?
Yeah, if they owed them dope.
So it wasn't skin.
Yeah, if they owed them, nah. So,
it was a gang thing.
Nah, it wasn't no skin thing at all. Not with the Mexicans, or for that matter, you know, in George Jackson in the days, 60s, early 70s, it was a skin thing, and they represented that. But you couldn't. At this point, when I got there, you couldn't win no skin game with us. We was a ruling class up in there. Period. The Crips was a ruling class. You couldn't win a skin game with them at all.
Did you witness the Crips go at it, the BGF?
Yeah, many a times. I went at them. Yeah, we had our conflicts. I mean, we didn't have no all-out, blown-out wars, but we had scrimmages and knickknacks and squabbles throughout, you know, especially, let me talk about me. BGS one time told me that I couldn't deal dope to certain people. And I was like, well, who the hell y'all think y'all is? You know, I'm going to deal dope whoever the fuck I want to deal dope to. So, yeah, it was a little skirmish at Folsom behind that. Yeah, we got into it. You know, you know, sometimes they don't, you know, respect you until you put your foot in their ass. And we was very willing to do that.
So, do you think, because you mentioned that the correctional officers, the faculty or whatever you call them, was locking the hardcore BGF up.
Right.
Do you consider you was fighting the lesser of the BGF?
No, I was on the yard with him. I was on AC. I was with
the main one.
I was with the main ones. I know them well. They know me well. You know what I mean? But it was, you know, it was still a respect thing. It's just that, you know, I was cripping on mine, and they respected that. I respected them.
So, in your opinion, what weakened the BGF? What was the one factor that caused their membership and their notoriety to go down?
I know what weakened them. It ain't no, in my opinion. BGF started out as a revolutionary group, man, and they had, you know, this ideology about being guerrillas, representing, you know, the virtuous aspects of black strength. They didn't want to participate in no kind of street vice, street kind of money. They had these donors, they had these celebrity donors giving them money. And eventually that stuff ran out. And the old guard was pushed out by, you know, everybody know Fatih Yero, who is Bunchy's little brother, Kenny. He pushed him out. The money got to getting funny with him, and they tried to move into what we was doing, what the Crips was doing. Here they come now. Now they want to get into our space. You know what I'm saying? They want to come down here on the yard all of a sudden and ask us about our heroin sacks, our weed sacks and shit. You know, we was like, what is this? What y'all, you know. So basically, I was told by them that they moving in that direction. That was a mistake. They ain't built like that. They shouldn't have never, ever, you know, stepped into that arena. They were not equipped for that arena, whereas the Crips were already built for it. And that's what destroyed them.
Who were the biggest heroin customers, the older guys, or was it a particular race?
My biggest heroin customers, well, I had Geronimo Pratt. He put a lot of money in my pocket. But the Indians and the Mexicans, you know, I had them all. But the Indians and the Mexicans is basically my big chunk of my money. And I dealt to anybody that wanted to shoot their shit up in their motherfucking vein, including Ray Charles, David Robinson. I mean, I had them all.
He was locked up with you?
David Robinson was on the yard, but matter of fact, I was on the yard with a couple of celebrities back then. Harry-O, I was on the yard with Harry-O and David Robinson at the same time.
When you was locked up in Quentin and SHU,
yeah,
did you, or any time in Quentin, was you able to see Tookie or your homies even in church?
I was on the yard with him.
Sitting reminisce about the days of way back. Big kid dollar folders, gun holders with the gym on the rollers. Keep taking the fire, but the dope shots don't make dollars. It don't make sense.